What is up? So today's video will be a little bit different. It's gonna be a really deep video. Um, just talking. There probably won't be any cuts and scenes and any of that. Um, but yeah, basically, earlier on I was just on my phone or whatever, and someone had posted a link on Facebook to a video. And I clicked into it, as you do, and it was a video of, it was kind of a social experiment. You see those on YouTube all the time. And so there was a guy, he was being recorded, and he was wearing kind of grubby clothes, dirty old clothes, and a hat. And so he was walking down the street, and the street was full of people. And he pretends to cough, and then he falls on his knees, and he's lying on the ground, and he said, he's like calling for help. He's saying, help me to people that are walking past, and people are just ignoring him, whether they're just too busy, or because he looked homeless, or because he looked dirty. I don't know why they did, but he was calling, like, a lot of people walked by, and he was asking for help, and nobody stopped to help him. Then they kind of switched it up, and he changed his clothes, and he was wearing a suit, and he did the same thing again. He was just walking along, and he ended up on the ground, and he was calling for help, and everybody came to help him. So it's kind of like, to watch it, it's a bit ridiculous to see that people will ignore him when he's wearing clothes that make him look homeless or make him look sick or dirty. But if he's wearing a suit and he looks like he has a life, then everybody helps him. It was kind of, it annoyed me, because I'm like, well, why was he more important because he had a suit on? Like, people have this thing in their head that the homeless people are filthy, diseased people, when we don't know what they've been through. Like, obviously some of them have done bad things and ended up where they are. Some of them have been addicted to drugs and to alcohol, and because of that lost their money and their home and their families and friends, and that's why they're homeless. But there are people out there who just had a bad time in their life, are having a bad time in their life, where they've lost their home, and because of that, people probably don't want to be friends with them as much as they would if they had a home and if they were working and stuff like that. But it kind of made me realize how quick we are to judge. Like, we have no idea if the guy lying on the ground is homeless, or if he's just wearing old clothes and has passed out on the ground. It's just one of those things that, like, you kind of ask yourself, well, what would I do in that situation? I'd like to think I'd definitely help him, because I'm not one to think that all homeless people are filthy and diseased, and because that's not the case. Of course they might be dirty, but they don't have a home or somewhere to take a shower. So, but I mean, it's just like, I think I definitely would help, because, and that's not to be like, oh, look at me, I'm great and I help people, but it's just that I know that people have bad situations, and that they end up being where they are because of things that have happened to them. Even things that weren't their fault, and it's the result of that is that they're homeless. But I think a lot of people don't realise that. Like, I've watched a lot of videos about homeless people, and they kind of been interviewed and stuff, and they say how people call them names. They call them filthy, they call them bums and tramps and waste of space and all this stuff, and they get pretty emotional because they know the people, but everybody else treats them, well, most people treat them like they're just scum. Which I hate, because think for a second, if something happened to you and you were to lose your job or your education or whatever, any source of income, or your parents were to kick you out of your house, whatever the situation, and you were to end up homeless because of something you couldn't control, and then everybody passes you on the street when you're asking for help, and they call you scum, and they call you filthy and an animal and this and that. Like, a lot of people just don't think how they might feel. And a lot of people don't realise that it's bullying to belittle somebody because they because they're homeless because of something that happened in their life. I don't know, like I said, I'm not trying to be all like, oh look at me, I'm perfect, I know all of this, I know that they're still people and I help them, or I'm not saying that at all, because I've walked past homeless people too sometimes and kind of been like thinking to myself, well, why doesn't he just get a job? But it's like when we start thinking like that, then we're gonna fall into the habit of thinking that they're just waste of space, and it shouldn't be like that. Like, you gotta think about it logically. They're on the streets, they have no money, they can't get a job because they're not clean, and they have no clothes to go to an interview with. And people take one look at somebody that's homeless if they come in for a job, and they just say no, because they know if that person's homeless, they can't hire him if he's not presentable, because people won't go in there. I don't know, it's just, I know that people are gonna be, whether they comment on this video or not, or they're gonna say it in their heads and they're gonna be like, well, what are you blabbing on about and blah blah blah. But to be honest, I don't care. If I can help one person that watches this, if I can help one person to be kinder to other people because they don't know their circumstances, well then I'm happy. That's all this video is for. I don't really care if other people are like, oh, what are you talking about, you don't know anything, you think you're perfect. I don't think I'm perfect. I know I'm not perfect. But I think it's an important subject that we need to learn that we're not better than everybody else. We're not better than anybody else. We're all equal. It's just that our lives are different and we end up in different situations because of how our life plays out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just, these videos will probably happen sometimes, because I often come across like videos on YouTube that kind of show things, especially those social experiments where it shows how people can just ignore things that are happening around them and how people can be cruel and mean. But I know that there's more good people in the world than there are bad. But sometimes people are afraid to show that they're good because everyone else will be like, well, why are you helping that man, or why are you standing up for this person or that? But I mean, yeah, it's kind of, there will probably be more videos like this as I come across videos that inspire me to inspire you, hopefully. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to talk about that for a minute. And like I said, if I help one person to realize the situation a bit more, then I'm happy. If I don't, well then maybe next time I'll inspire somebody. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, and I hope you enjoyed the video, even though it's on a pretty deep and low note. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe, and I will see you later. Also, tomorrow I'll be uploading a cover video, the first cover video for this channel. And yeah, so if you're watching this, make sure to check back in tomorrow, or well, that's if you're watching it like when it's uploaded. But yeah, so make sure you check out that cover video tomorrow, and I'll see you later.